The number one goal of this channel is to interact with you guys and talk basketball with my fellow basketball fans. That's what I do it for, guys. And on my Instagram, I set up a poll and I did a Q&A kind of thing where you guys ask me my questions, my opinions, and I give you my answers, purely opinionated, on what you guys asked, obviously. So in today's video, I got 6 questions pulled up on my Instagram, and I'm going to be responding to them. And this is purely opinion, and I love to hear you guys' opinion down below. This is a no disrespect zone, no matter what it is, man. My opinions might be completely stupid to you guys, but you know, it's at the end of the day, you could, if you really try, you can see my argument, and I can see yours at the end of the day. Like there's going to be a topic in this video where it is incredibly split. At the end of the day, I can see your part. But that does not mean, just because I disagree with you does not mean that as a person, as a basketball fan, I think you're any worse. So keep that in mind. That's what this channel is all about, is respectfully talking about basketball, having debates, arguments. That's what I love to do. So we're going to get into these topics. Again, my Instagram, I think I'll link it down below. So next time I do a poll, you guys can respond for yourselves, or I'll leave it in. You guys can leave your questions in the comments, and I'll get to it in the next Q&A video if I decide to do another one. So the first question is Steph Curry the best shooter of all time? Yes, he is. In my opinion, he is. Ray Allen, Klay Thompson. Ray Allen and Klay Thompson are very, very close. But it's simple. Steph Curry changed the game. Ray Allen was in the league before Steph, and Ray did not change the game like Steph did. Klay was his teammate. Klay is a lot more limited in what he does shooting-wise. Now, Klay's form is just beauty. I mean, if you ever watched Klay Thompson shoot, it is a thing of beauty. And if you went to a game where Klay Thompson was playing, I went to the Milwaukee Bucks versus Golden State Warriors game. I think it was 2 years ago. Maybe it was just last year. And it was, every time Klay touched the ball, it was a bucket. And it was frustrating as a Bucks fan. It was incredibly frustrating. And there's a guy like that right now in Miami. His name is Duncan Robinson. I just watched him play on Christmas Day against the Pelicans, and it was incredible. It was almost frustrating. I'm a huge Duncan Robinson fan. He went to my dream school, University of Michigan, and every time he touched it, an inch of space, it was a bucket, and it was so frustrating to watch. But Steph Curry, he'll hit it from 40. He'll hit it from 35. Clutch moment, not clutch moment, doesn't matter. He'll hit 8 in a row. A video actually just released yesterday of him in practice hitting 105 threes in a row. I guarantee you that your favorite player cannot hit 105 layups in a row. I think that what Steph Curry can do, his ball handling contributes to him being the best shooter of all time, as weird as it is to say. Just because he's not limited to just being a catch and shoot guy, a lot like Klay Thompson is. Steph Curry will create his own shot, do this weird circus play, and he can do everything that Klay Thompson does. He can just do everything better. He obviously has the most three-pointers made in a season, and then he broke his own record. So I think this one is fairly obvious. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. If you disagree, I know my dad disagrees. He thinks Klay Thompson is the greatest shooter of all time. Leave your opinion and why below. And then the second question is very, very difficult for me. Kevin Durant, greatest scorer ever? See, I haven't figured out what my opinion truly is on this one. Because when we're talking about most skilled, Kevin Durant is a borderline 7-foot all-around scorer. He will dunk on you. He has post games. He has a fadeaway. He has mid-range, a deadly three-point shot. On the offensive side of the ball, if he passes half court, you have to be guarding him. But if you guard him too tight, he's going to go around you and dunk. If you don't guard him tight enough, he's going to pull it straight in your face. Kevin Durant might be the most skilled scorer of all time, but I think the best scorer of all time is Michael Jordan. There's a case being made for James Harden, but Michael Jordan averaged 36. It is incredibly tough to say, guys. I do think it is depending on what you go off of, right? Like, if you want the most skilled scorer of all time, it's Kevin Durant. If you want most accomplished scorer of all time, I'm giving it to Michael Jordan. So that's my answer on that. I know that might leave some question marks for you guys, but I definitely want you guys to comment on this one. I want to know what you guys think, because this one I could be tossed either way, honestly. The third one, I'm going to make you guys really, really mad. Guarantee it. What was Derrick Rose's potential, in your opinion, if he never got hurt? Derrick Rose is the youngest player to win an MVP. I don't think he had very high potential. I mean, I don't think he had very high potential compared to what you guys are saying. He wouldn't have gotten another MVP. I don't think he would have been top 3 anymore. He was going straight into an era where he was going straight into the 3-point era, and he didn't develop a 3-point shot for a long, long time, even while he had no more ACLs, which is, I mean, like, the 3-point shot's the least you can do. We saw him develop it a little bit in Minnesota, but even still, if you look at his stats, it wasn't very good. Derrick Rose, if he never got hurt, yes, he would have been an incredibly athletic point guard that could get to the rim, but he's also going into the 3-point era. He would have been very, very talented, but he would have been a 20-point per game average. He averaged 21 in his MVP season. He was never a great passer, playmaker. I don't think he would have gotten top 3 in the MVP conversation again. I think LeBron should have won it that year, and he dominated the rest. I don't think he would have been anywhere close to where Steph Curry was in terms of vote getters eventually, right? Like, he would have had a couple good years in him, maybe, where it was like Derrick Rose is the superstar, All-NBA first-team point guard for sure. But I don't think he was another MVP candidate. I think a lot of people were saying he could have gone down as the GOAT. I think that is insane. A 6-foot point guard without a jump shot, I don't think, relatively without a jump shot, I don't think he could have gone down. He was exposed on defense constantly. So Derrick Rose's potential, not incredibly high. He would have gone downhill from there. I think that was his peak year for sure. Players entering make or break season, aka Lonzo Ball. Yes, Lonzo Ball, number 1. Make or break season for me, guys. And I touched on it a little bit in this last video I made, recapping every single NBA game up until Christmas Day. I worked incredibly hard on that video. If you guys could go check it out and leave it a like, I would really appreciate it. But I got 5 names for you guys. If I'm missing anyone, make sure you leave it down below. If you think I'm wrong, make sure you leave it down below. I'll make sure to respond to every single comment. Lonzo Ball, obviously, is number 1. Super high, hyped up guy, high potential guy going into his rookie year and his second year with the Lakers, right? And he was incredibly overrated. And then he gets traded. Now he's incredibly underrated. My perception of Lonzo Ball is his first few years in the league, he was incredibly inefficient, incredibly inconsistent, had no 3-point jumper. He was really there to play defense and pass the ball, which he did exceptionally well. And then I look at his stats from last year, 12.5, 7, 6.5 on 37.5% from 3, making 2.5 per game. I don't know about you guys, but that is incredible. Zion Williamson, when he was on the floor, both players were exceptionally better. Zion Williamson would have been an all-star had he played with Lonzo the entire season, and Lonzo Ball would have been, no doubt, a starting point guard in the NBA. I think Lonzo Ball is incredibly overhated at this point. I don't think he should be having a starting job over Eric Bledsoe. I don't know what they're going to do with that in New Orleans, but at this point, Lonzo Ball is getting better. He now has Zion Williamson on the team. I don't know how he'll play in the bench role, but this season he's already started off with a 16-point game, and then he continued his inconsistency into a 6-point game. Here's the thing. He is still incredibly inconsistent. That part of him has not changed, and once he gets that figured out, he will be a starting point guard in the NBA. He won't sign a contract extension this year. We're not sure if he'll be back in New Orleans or not. I assume he won't be. New Orleans says that he probably will be. I assume he won't be just because Eric Bledsoe, I would assume, has that starting job. So I can't wait to see where he goes. If he gets a starting role there, I don't want him to leave New Orleans simply because I want to see him playing with Zion, because that duo is nasty. So I think Lonzo Ball is a lot like a triple-double threat, incredible passer, and a great defender. I don't think he'll be a star in the NBA. I'm just saying I think he could be a very, very good role player for a team, like a Rajon Rondo kind of deal. So definitely he is overhated. That's my thoughts on Lonzo Ball. Another player entering a make-or-break season is John Wall and Boogie Cousins, basically the Houston Rockets. Just because of their injuries, their laziness. I'm not saying Boogie, actually. John Wall's laziness and injuries, Boogie's injuries. This is kind of the year where it's like the last chance, right? And more so for Boogie than it is for John Wall. I think if Boogie doesn't really play this season, he is without a contract next season. I think Boogie's is a lot more health-oriented than John Wall. I think if John Wall doesn't play well, he's essentially a bum, and no one will want him anymore. And after this contract, he'll be on a minimum deal or close to minimum deal where he's not very good anymore. But, I mean, if he does make it and he's back to double-double John Wall form, 2010 John Wall form, then, yeah, I don't see why not. He could be a $20 million player in the future in his next contract. I don't think he'll ever make another All-Star game, but I do think John Wall is definitely in a make-or-break year along with Boogie Cousins. Another player that might be a unexpected one, Wendell Carter Jr., and I did talk about this in my Bulls video. The Bulls have a very high draft pick next year, it looks like. They already started off the season totally terrible, but there are some incredible big men next season, and we're at the point where with the Bulls, they've had so many top draft picks now. Their like starting six, other than Zach LaVine, is completely loaded with high potential guys, right? So eventually, they haven't been good enough yet where they are making the strides forward. They're just restocking these guys over and over again. And now it's time for one of them to go. And I think that guy is Wendell Carter. And you might be saying, Ben, it's too early. And it just might be. But it is time for one of those young prospects to go. It's not going to be Kobe White. Definitely not going to be Patrick Williams. Lauri Markkanen is playing great. So that leaves Wendell. And with guys like Evan Mobley, Jonathan Kuminga, even Luka Garza, why wouldn't you get rid of Wendell Carter? Or now he's going to be on the bench, right? So Wendell Carter is in a very interesting position. He does have to play fairly well this year. And my last guy is Kyle Kuzma. Kuz has been incredibly inconsistent at his best. I was like, this dude's going to be a bona fide bucket. The Lakers have to hang on to him. If anything, he has to be hung on to. And at his worst, he's an incredibly inefficient scorer that doesn't do anything when he doesn't touch the ball. And when he does touch the ball, he doesn't hit a lot of his shots. This upcoming year, he's going to have a bench role, which is good for him because he will be the leading scorer off the bench. And he will get most of the touches. If he can stay a little bit efficient and just upgrade the defense a little bit, Kuz will make it. But if not, Kuz just signed his extension, so the Lakers obviously think different than I do. But I think this is the make or break year for Kuz. This is the end of his potential. And keep in mind, he is an older guy, right? Like he's about 25 years old, which is weird because he just came into the league a couple seasons ago, and now he's already up there in age. He's 25, 26. So definitely Kyle Kuzma rounds out my make or break guys. And then another one, top 5 draft predictions for next year. Obviously, I can't predict teams. I can give you a whole list of teams that might be in the top 5, but just with the lottery and how wild it actually has been, I can't tell you that. But my top 5 predictions, and it's definitely going to stir something up. From 1 to 5, I got Cade Cunningham, no doubt number 1. Whoever gets the number 1 pick will hit Cade Cunningham. 19-year-old out of Oklahoma State. He's incredible. 6'7" guard. Can score from anywhere on the court, even has defensive potential. That's amazing. Evan Mobley, number 2. Jonathan Kuminga, number 3. Luka Garza is the other guy I want to talk about. I know this video might be a little bit long, so I'm not going to talk about every prospect, but Luka Garza is dominating at Iowa. He did last year. He is this year. He is an incredible post player, and I know it is a three-point shot game, but Garza has it too. He has it too. He is absolutely incredible. He's a spark plug. I can't wait for a team to snag him. And then Jalen Green is my number 5. Yeah, Jalen Green. And then lastly, the GOAT combo. And this one's always going to stir something up. If you have Jordan as your GOAT, totally respect that. But my personal GOAT is LeBron James. Here's why. Michael Jordan has the championships. I know he does. I know he has more scoring titles, more defensive player of the years. But LeBron James has more all-time points scored, rebounds, assists, blocks, all more efficiently. Jordan, yes, he's the most talented scorer, but offensively, LeBron James makes every player on the court better. He's a better passer. He's not a better scorer, but he can hit from 3 mid-range. He's a monster inside. Offensively, I give it to LeBron. Defensively, Jordan has the edge by a little bit, but people forget that LeBron James almost was Defensive Player of the Year in 2011. He still has all NBA defensive teams under his belt. He's a monster. He has some of the nastiest blocks of all time. He's an elite shot blocker at the small forward position. I think that LeBron James is, and people always like to say like he has more points because he's played 2 more years. That's because Jordan decided to sit out 2 years. That affects your legacy. So if LeBron gets another chip, I think it should be solidified. And people do like to talk about championships, so I'll dive into the championships, right? LeBron's championships, his bad one was against Dallas. I cannot protect him on that one. But beating the 73-9 Warriors team, down 3-1, that's the best finals win of all time ever. Yes, Jordan did go 6-0, but he played against some washed teams, guys. He did play against some washed teams, and just like LeBron had his cakewalk in the East, so did Jordan. The only real competition he had was Isaiah Thomas and the Bulls. Outside of that, it wasn't as difficult, and I know there was more 60-win teams that he played, but it was the 90s. It was incredibly top-heavy, and at the time that he got to the championship, he was incredible. Like, those teams were older. And my last point would be, people like to talk about how many All-Stars LeBron played with compared to Jordan. And this is very heated on both sides. Jordan played with the best wing defender of all time in Scottie Pippen. He played with Dennis Rodman, the best rebounder of all time. Obviously, LeBron, like I said, absolutely should have beat Dallas with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. After that, he played with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade in a super team era, just like every era is. You need a super team. He played with Anthony Davis when he beat the Warriors. He played with Kyrie and Kevin Love. But when you're looking at it, I do feel like they played with fairly even teams. And when you're looking at the competition in the finals, nothing beats that 73-9 Warriors team. So I think that LeBron is my greatest of all time, simply because he is all around just a better NBA player. No, he has not won 6 finals, but I think in almost every other aspect, LeBron James is the superior player. So with that, I will leave you guys with just one ask. If you guys can leave your opinions down in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. I will reply to every single one. If you even made it to this point in the video, I applaud you. Not a lot of people do at all on my channel, so make sure you let me know that you made it till the end. And I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one, dropping daily NBA content. Peace. Leave your suggestions below. I'll see you. All right. Peace.